Longtime viewers of the channel probably remember me essentially begging for the Pacific Theater. And not only did we just get a ton of new info on the Pacific's first map, but also confirmation that we will in fact be storming the beaches of Iwo Jima by year's end.
Iwo Jima we're looking to release towards the end of this year. So we're leading up to it. This is just a first sort of look.
That's right, folks. The Pacific Front, along with the Imperial Japanese Army faction and the first map, Iwo Jima, will be coming to Squad 44 by year's end. So just yesterday, the community manager Luna was joined by Crismo, Gunslinger, and McDucksauce, level designers for Squad 44, in a live stream showcasing everything Iwo Jima will have to offer. So first things first.
What is something that is significantly interesting is like for people that have played Iwo Jima and other games before, ours is 1-to-1 size. So it will feel way bigger than any iteration of Iwo Jima you played before, because it is the real size.
Now the entire island will not be playable. However, from the most southern tip with Mount Suribachi up north a little past Motoyama Airfield will be playable.
The beach is quite large, right? So
Yes.
Right now we have, just in comparison to Utah, how much bigger is it than Utah?
Very beachy.
Yeah, so it's a lot deeper
Okay.
compared to Utah. It has a lot more elevation, as you can tell from the picture. Like the back end of the beach has a lot more elevation going on. It's rising a lot higher. The playable area, that will be about 2.7 kilometers of beachside.
All the historians out there will know that the American Navy pummeled the island for 3 days straight before actually landing on Iwo Jima.
Which then leads to, yes, there are vast areas that are, like you show right now, like pretty desolate, destroyed, burned down. We have huge craters on the island, many craters on the island. But also, Iwo Jima is a lot greener than people think or people know from Hollywood movies. Like if you're watching any kind of mainstream media Iwo Jima, you're usually just seeing black sand, rocks, and that's it. That's Iwo Jima for them. If you look at actual images taken from the invasion, from the battles, you see like, oh, there's trees, like not big ones, but small ones, those screw pines. Oh, there's bushes. Okay, oh, they had fields there. They even were like doing agriculture there to a certain degree, you know? So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, actually, that people do not know from mainstream media. They had like 9 battleships there, about like 24 cruisers, 13, 14 aircraft carriers. So it was basically the entirety of the US Navy in the Pacific that was at Iwo Jima. And they hammered the island for 3 days straight, including the Missouri and the Iowa. And the Missouri and the Iowa both have 16-inch guns, and they do leave a hole when they hit.
Oh yeah.
These 16-inch naval guns left massive craters. Some of these craters will be larger than a vehicle.
Over 2,200
Over 2,000 craters. Okay.
Yeah, and they vary in size. Some are like small craters, some are very, 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 very big craters.
Someone in chat asked if there would be like ambient dogfights going on in the background. Being that the Japanese were surrounded by the US Navy, they really weren't able to scramble any fighters. However, Gunslinger did lead on to something I think would be pretty cool if added to the game.
Players that are currently actively playing know that we added a lot more ambience and background sound to a lot of the maps, basically mostly battle sounds, artillery shells hitting afar. Some city maps have like the air raid warning sirens going on. I would say you can expect more or less the same, but more intense for Iwo Jima. But you will definitely have a lot of background sound of explosions, artillery shells, and whatnot. We are looking into giving more than that, having more happening. But that stays a secret until we actually have it working.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's working before we say that it's coming.
Yeah.
Now, this is just speculation, but I think what he might be talking about, possibly being able to see the Iowa and Missouri actually shooting off their rounds in the distance, which would be pretty cool if you ask me.
It's not a museum. We are not building a Iwo Jima museum for you to walk around and marvel at. We are building a big sandbox for you where we want you to play in.
They went on to explain that every single graphical asset used in Iwo Jima is completely brand new. Nothing has been brought over from other chapters. And that's when Moydog asked about defensive gun emplacements.
People will feel and play a very, very different game compared to what you used to in Chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, you will definitely have gun positions where the gun is basically a smoking scrap heap. And you will have gun positions where the gun is still operational, and you can directly use it as soon as the timer ends and the round starts.
Now, this live stream was mainly to go over level design and kind of strictly information about Iwo Jima itself. But I don't know, I think Luna and Chuck might have led us on to a little something.
When you get off the beach, I think the fights will be very, very close and very, very violent for very short periods of time, if you get me.
I need to double check. I know Chuck has been working on like the melee weapons for the Japanese forces.
I don't know. I may be wrong, but I know Chuck does a lot more than just 3D modeling. Could he possibly be working on like a 4-way directional melee system, similar to what we see in Beyond the Wire? Being able to sword fight with katanas would be pretty cool.
So there's going to be points where you're just going to be bogged down in the thick of it, and hell is unleashing around you, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's like you use your trenches in Chapter 1, and you can get down your trench line with your hedgerow down your side, and you hop out your trench and you capture your point. Whilst this is going to be more, you're going down your trench, but this trench now goes into 3 trenches, and that trench now goes into like 4 trenches, and before you know it, it's just grenades thrown everywhere. I feel like that's what it's going to be like. As soon as you get off the beach, it's just going to be carnage on both sides.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one just brought up gore in the chat. I feel like every time I have a stream, people are like...
There will be a lot of gore.
Iwo Jima will have more dugout trenches than any other Squad 44 map. Crismo estimated some 20 miles of total trench network. The map has over 150 gun positions and pillboxes, and Mount Suribachi, whose peak is 170 meters above sea level, will be filled with a deep and extensive tunnel network. Now, what about commander call-ins on Iwo Jima?
The Japanese will not have access to any air assets on the island. Doesn't make any sense. You've got 14 carriers right in the front porch. You're not starting a single plane under that conditions. So yeah, no air assets for the Japanese, no strafing runs for the Japanese. Kind of makes sense. The Japanese, however, employed a 320 millimeter mortar on the island. I mean, you kind of just have to look out to the sea to get an idea what the Marines would call in as a commander asset, because they do not have deployed artillery guns anywhere. Their artillery guns are swimming and 16-inch. So yeah, let's just say like the USMC artillery call-in will be a little bit bigger than what you are used to.
Bada boom.
Big boom, big bada boom.
It has been quite a while since the Pacific Front has been represented in a video game, and with Squad 44 taking a crack at it, this will certainly be the most realistic or cinematic depiction of the theater to date.
Which means that we want to give you at least like a cool cinematic experience of fighting one of the fiercest and most well-known battles of World War II. While also maintaining what makes Squad 44 Squad 44, being that it's more realistic, more strategic than, let's say, like a shooter where you just jump into an F4, crash on the volcano, jump out and run into a tunnel, you know?
Ooh, sounds like he's calling out Battlefield there. It's crazy to me thinking back to the original Battlefield and how awesome it was, and even Battlefield 2, really. I just never would have expected the franchise to lean so hard into the arcade mechanics. But hey, what can you do? At least we got Squad 44. I hope all of you are as excited for the future of Squad 44 as I am. The Pacific Front and the first map, Iwo Jima, aiming to be playable by year's end. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments, maybe some things you'd like to see come with the new theater. As always, a special shout out to my channel members, the Mil-Simp minions. I will see you boys in the next one. Y'all be good to each other.